Hello and welcome to Get Out of Rap TV, show 91, the 21st of January. How are we all doing? It's great to be back, and I'm here because of my partners, Better Outsourcing and the Forum. Uh, we have loads of things planned to do this year, and I'm really appreciative of their support. If you are joining for the first time, please do say hello in the comments and make use of the networking bar because that is a way of you building your network as well. Have some special guests on the show today. So really looking forward to this one. You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to cough in a second. We have, like a lot of you, I guess, some illness going around the family, and we're sharing. So we like to share it around, which I can't let it get in the way of my marathon training. I'm probably boring you all to death with the updates, but it's keeping me honest. So it's kind of it's very selfish. Here we go. First off the mark, Alan. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. How's the world of golf? All good? Yes, please do. Like Alan, if you are watching and you want to drop a comment in, do not think I'm ignoring you. This always worries me. I promise I'm not ignoring you. You just might have to refresh LinkedIn because they sometimes don't show from one to the other. Okay, we're going to kick off. Oh, hello. How are you? That was a lovely picture of you and Claire yesterday, Shamim. Was it yesterday? Um, Look, we're being overtaken by the Welsh. Marianne is here as well. Borada. Hello, everyone. What a fabulous day it is. It is lovely. It wasn't so lovely at 6 a.m. this morning with Hugo. He was dragging me round. I could hardly walk. Marianne, Shamim, Alan, great to see you. Anyone else that is watching, please do drop in and say hello. Like I say, we have some very special guests on. It's lovely to see them. This will just be like a catch up with you guys watching. Okay. So, one of the things I think in our society that we're not too good at is blowing our own trumpet. So, I'm going to invite you to blow your own trumpet. There he is. Barry, thank you for the donation yesterday or the day before, Barry. That's very, very kind of you. G'day, Luke. G'day, mate. He's bringing some Australian sunshine. And hello, Peace. What a lovely name. What a lovely name. Good to see you. I think this is the first time. Is this the first time you've commented on the show? Well, it is lovely to see you here. What a lovely profile picture as well. Here she is. Kerry Sudale. Have you started football again, Kerry? Are you back after the Christmas break? Haven't seen any pictures of you with shiners or kick knees. It's the other players that I worry about. Barry says, "You're very welcome, mate. Best of luck with the run. You'll smash it." I I fluctuate from thinking, yeah, I've got this, to like yesterday, I was thinking, God, I'm never going to do it. But I'm somewhere in between today. I just keep going. I've got faith in the plan. Just going to follow the plan. Here he is. I'll read. Okay, Pete Dunn, one of the loveliest people on the planet, huge brain about everything to do with contact centers, and is on the market. So your company contact center could do, well, I was going to say you could do far worse. He's the best there is. So snap him up. Kerry, I have indeed played at Matlock on Sunday. We need more information. Assists, yellow cards. What happened? We lost. Our girls lost in the quarterfinal on Saturday. I was gutted, but they still had fun. No more shiners. Good to hear. Okay, so as I said, we're not very good at blowing our own trumpets. I would like to ask you, what's the thing you have done at work that gives you the most pride? What have you done? It could be in the last year, it could be ever. But what is the thing that you look back on and think, yeah, I smashed that. That was great. Because we don't do it. We don't do it very often. This is your opportunity to sing your own praises, and rightly so. because our brains tell us all the stuff that we don't do very well. So we have to verbalize sometimes the things that we do well. Appreciate the shout out. No problem. No problem. We've got your back. Good point, Pete. So with the shiners for everyone else. Midfield general, Kerry is just going around biting everyone's ankles. So this is your opportunity to say, do you know what? When I ran that project, or I've mentored someone, I did a startup, whatever it is, what's the thing that you have done at work that gives you the most pride? Setting up your own business, launching a new service. Okay. Oh, this is a football update. I thought this was the first one. We lost. It was a promotion game too. I played for the first team and got just a few minutes, but denied them a goal scoring opportunity as a left back. So that will do. Well done. Here we go. Thank you. Danny is here. Been lurking in the background, Danny. That's unlike you. I love this. Watching others flourish through your wonderful company, Fergun. I always think I mispronounce that, Danny. You might have to help me. You can't go wrong with Danny for organizational psychology, getting all your teams aligned. So I would agree with that one. Watching others flourish. So Danny has set us off and running. What has everyone else got? What's the thing you have done at work that gives you the most pride? You think, yeah, you know what? I did a good job there. Even if someone else, even if you've never been told that, this is your opportunity to get some appreciation, because you guys always come up with very interesting stuff. Who else is? Are you all just so busy typing? I think there is a word limit on your comments, or are you just heading off to ChatGPT? We'll have to do something on that at some point. Here we go, Luke. I think I spoke to you about this. You migrated the London Ambulance 999 contact center to a new system. That is brilliant. And I'm sure, do you remember we met up? Was it Skanska? I want to say. What a wonderful thing to do. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I spoke to someone, a friend of mine from football, Sunday, who it suddenly dawned on him that behind pretty much every facet of life, there is a contact center. So well done, Luke. Danny, thank you. Fergun, taking sincere joy and pride in someone else's accomplishments or experience. I love that. Peter, personally set up a new QA program that won awards and was winning awards years after I left the organization. Professionally got feedback that the people I'd coached into new roles had transformed in terms of their confidence, engagement, and skills. See, just reading that makes me feel warm inside. Well done, Pete. Barry, I think last year was supporting and seeing 2 apprentices pass their exams in our teams. And I know how much work you put into that. You dedicated lots and lots of time into that. That's wonderful. Morris, what a lovely thought-provoking hello, by the way. Morris Pentel, days when I've tried to be the best version of myself. I love that. That is a lovely, lovely sentiment. Very philosophical. Okay, here we go. Kerry, set up my own business, have been able to run it around my small family. One of my faves last year was supporting someone through an open to work community that I set up. He'd been out of work for 2 years and I placed him in a great role. 10 minutes away from his house. There you go, changing people's lives for the better. How amazing is that? This is lovely. This is lovely. Please do keep these coming. But now we've kept them waiting long enough. And Danny, you'll be pleased to know I've even done a little new VT. So are you ready? I'm pleased to welcome Leigh Hopwood and Jackie Pringle from the CCMA. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I was saying to Jackie, this is our first time we've spoken this year, so we've got to make sure we don't just turn it into a general chit chat, because there is a purpose for you being here.
Well, there is, but I have to ask first, how are your legs?
They are, and thank you very much for your sponsorship as well. They're aching today.
Are they?
Yeah, so it's a rest day today. I'm going to pop to the gym, but that's only to do some of the exercises that the physio recommended. But it's getting very real, because then tomorrow is a 50-minute run. But I've just got I'm just going to follow the plan, and all will be well.
Yes, and do you know what? It reminds me, although it's completely different to doing the Couch to 5K, and that incremental changes, incremental steps. But it sounds like that you start on more than 5K for when you're doing the marathon plan.
I think the thing that I'm learning is, when I was running before, you'd run for distance. You'd go, oh, I want to do 5K today. I might do 7. Whereas this one is all just about time. And I'm trying to run at a pace that I know I could carry on at. And that's quite difficult, because you're going slower than you naturally would. And I can find myself at times kind of going, suddenly just speeding up for a bit because I feel good, which is a wrong thing to do, but I'm getting there. I look, yesterday someone said to me in our town, I think I saw you running. You look like a giant highlighter pen, because my thing is bright yellow.
I love that. And I love that question that you just asked around what have you done that makes you proud?
Have you been thinking of an answer?
Well, of course, because I was a bit concerned that you were going to ask us. So, and if I may do a lovely little segue, the thing that I think makes both Jackie and I and all of us at the CCMA proud, and all of our judges, are the awards, the UK National Contact Centre Awards. They bring a lump to my throat every time I talk to the winners afterwards, and you see the reactions on the night, because they're just so proud. And I think there was something in the chat around changing lives, having the opportunity to change lives, and I just feel like that's what these awards get to do. And it's just phenomenal when you hear that, they've had winners, or even those that have just been nominated. Their confidence grows, their motivation for what they're doing grows, and they get to go and do things like one of the stories I use is contact centre manager from 2020. It gave her the confidence to go and work in a soup kitchen on Christmas Day. I mean, that's changing. Yeah. That's not just changing her life. She's changing other people's lives as well.
I love it. And Jackie, I imagine it's the same for you, is it?
Absolutely, it is. It never, I think this is what, my 8th or 9th year involved in these awards programs. Every year, it never fails to amaze me. Some of, again, to your point, Leigh, some of the stories this year about, I think one of the big things for me this year, there's two absolute standout things for me. There was the whole on the night, Stephen Mulhern having everybody up just dancing and having a good time and what have you, and his agent going, he's not meant to be doing this. So I went, no, I know, but he doesn't want to go home. He's having such a good time, because he felt that the people of the contact centre industry were so special, so warm, so, people focused, that he just got kind of drawn into us, didn't he? Like, that was absolute, just unscripted, natural, just. And then the other one is like you say, Leigh, when we had the winners event and some of the stories, and escalating the voice of the contact centre within the organisation. All of a sudden, the contact centre winning an award, being in the board pack, and sort of going up in the half-year results and things like that. And another winner that said to us that he felt that he used to walk into meetings and had to explain everything that he wanted to do. And now he doesn't. He just goes in and says, this is what I want, and they kind of trust him, and they just go, yeah, they don't want to be nitpicking in the data. They're just like, yeah, crack on. And so many things. Yeah.
Well, I love these awards. I think thousands of people in our industry do. If you hadn't guessed, everyone, we're here to talk about the National Contact Centre Awards. I am going to ask you guys to get your questions in for Leigh and Jackie from the CCMA. So let's start with some of the basics, like when, where are we in the process? Who wants to kick off?
Do you want me to take that bit?
No, you can take that one.
Okay. So at the moment we are open for entries. So the awards portal is open. And we did a webinar a couple of weeks ago. So that is available to watch online, that helps you write a great nomination. It talks you through all the dates, the timeline, everything you need to know about the awards. We interview our new head judge, Tracy Kellaway, on that webinar, and we also interview 2 of last year's winners as well, Rob Moore from the TSB and Stephen from Benadryl Health. So that is really useful to go and watch if you're thinking of putting entries in. There's also a toolkit available online as well for people to download. Again, that gives you lots and lots of information and hints and tips. For the first year this year, and I'm not sure that people have grasped this yet, is that in the portal where you answer the 2 big questions about why you as an individual or your team or the organisation should win an award, we've put really helpful guidance against those questions that varies by category. So that will really help you kind of go, yeah, I've answered that bit, I've told them that, I've done this and I've done that. So that's a very long way of me saying, it's a very Jackie way of saying, isn't it? The portal is open. We are open for entries. We close at midnight on the 21st of February. And as always, we will not be extending that deadline beyond midnight. I get asked that all the time, and we won't. The timeline just simply doesn't allow for it. So please make sure that you get your entries in. Don't be afraid of going into the portal, because even if you hit submit on an entry, you can still edit it up till midnight on the 21st of February. So you can go in, you can put to be confirmed, you can put asterisks in, you can put whatever you want in. And I'll even allow you to put Manchester City are rubbish at the moment in if you want, just to get your entries started and get them in the process.
Let's not talk
Don't
about
tell
football.
my family I said that. And then we will be then doing all shortlisting. We'll announce the shortlist on the 18th of March. That's when we'll put tickets on tables on sale for the awards evening. And then that dinner is Monday, the 16th of June at Old Billingsgate again. And hopefully we'll have sunshine again to be able to enjoy that gorgeous terrace. And as always, we've got some surprises in store for on the night. So that's where we are, Martin.
Thank you very much. I mean, and what a special, it's not just the night's the culmination, right? But it's just a very special process, everything involved. I love some of the smaller details. It's the stopping at midnight, like the transfer deadline window, because I know that that's one where you've had entries at the last minute. It's kind of really exciting. We have our first, I will come back to people's pride things as well, but there is a first comment here. I always enjoy the UK awards, both judging and attending. I'd recommend entering just for the experience of taking your teams to the awards evening and celebrating our industry. Even better if you win something. And that's to your point earlier, Leigh, wasn't it? Around people that have just been nominated. It gives them validation, confidence. It's a wonderful thing that you do.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's the awards evening. There's no doubt it's a really good night, And you know, when you're there and you're in the room with you know, there's 1,200 people in the room, all really there for each other and celebrating what a brilliant industry we are. But it's so much more than that. I talk about that almost being the icing on the cake, and then the cherry on top is if you win. But it's the whole baking of that cake that is so rewarding. And we get a lot of feedback that the judging process that people go through is, well, let's go right to the beginning, when you sit back and go, right, should we actually nominate anyone? And you know, some organizations have programs where they already know that they're going to be nominating the winners of their internal programs, and then when someone does say, I'm going to nominate you, or I have nominated you,
Yeah.
That's one we hear. I have nominated you, and that just makes people feel so good. And we all need a little bit of that in our lives. But then when you go through the process and you get shortlisted, and you're like, "Wow, I'm in the top 8 or whatever the top number is. I'm in the top 8. I didn't expect to be there." That's something to celebrate, because they are they are competitive. They are difficult to go on and win. But one of the things that I don't think we see enough of is confidence. And I think that we should be more confident in our abilities and saying, actually, I could go on and win this. And if I don't, then I get some feedback from Jackie about, what I could be doing differently or better. And I go again, and I go and see if I can, go and change the world in my organization. So I just love. And then when you go through that second phase of judging, and our judges are all senior leaders, they've all been there, done that. They've done amazing things. Many are winners. They know what good looks like, and that's who you meet. That's who you get to have those conversations with. And so that whole process is just so rewarding.
There's nothing. It's all positives going through that process, all positives, wherever you are in that process, whether you're supporting someone, whether you are the nominee, whether you're a judge, it makes you better, both from a competency, networking, understanding what goes into it, because like you say, it's very stringent. But interestingly, I have spoken to people who've said this is going through the process and getting feedback and being asked questions by the people in the industry that know what they're talking about. For some, has seen a spike in their development, because it's the best, highest content feedback they've ever had. I have a great question for you from Danny that says, how can the community help? It's a fab event. I've been a few times in my corporate days. What a great question.
So I think the way that the community can help is by helping to identify those individuals, teams, the organisations that are making a difference, that maybe need that bit of recognition. So that for me, and sharing the fact that they're open for nominations would be great. So thanks, Mark, for having us here today. And that's what we're all about here at the CCMA. Is all about helping to elevate the industry, whether that is through personal development, organizational development, but also getting that recognition up and beyond the contact center. Jackie touched on it earlier about, and it was actually TSB. They won Best Contact Center Culture last year, and it turned up in their half-year results report. I mean, that's phenomenal. Yeah. That's and when I sit back and look at that, I think, that's great for the awards, but that's brilliant for our industry that the contact center is getting recognized at that level.
Yeah, because I think we've all worked somewhere where the contact center doesn't get the same kudos or seat at the table. I can remember going to various HQs, and you felt like you were treated a bit differently. We were just the tools out there rather than the brains, and it was frustrating. So to have something that gives you that credibility, that gives you something tangible to say, look, we are recognized as one of the best, or we have this person in our organization who's gone through a stringent process and is in the top 2-3% of roles in this industry. So hugely powerful. Jackie,
I think I think the other thing that the community can do to help, and again we've touched on this, is that confidence piece, is not just telling people that the entries are open, but giving people the confidence that they should enter, whether that's them as an individual, whether that's a team, or whether that's a piece of work at an organisation level to do with people. Because so many winners say to us, or finalists say to us, I don't think I do anything special. I don't think I'm any different to anybody else. And then people contact me and they say, do you think we should enter this? And I say, well, let the judges be the judge of that. What have you got to lose? So, and also, Stephen made a very good point on the webinar this year because he nominated himself, because he said, nobody else knows my world like me. So you can nominate yourself, you can nominate other people, you can nominate your team, other people can nominate your team. So I think two things: the awareness of the programme and the entries being open at the moment and that window, but also the encouragement that you are great. If you think you're doing something good, you normally are. And even sometimes when you don't think you are, you are. So I think it's kind of twofold there. Sorry, Martin, you were going to ask me a question.
Well, no, you make such a good point, because I think we all work with people who we know are good, and what a wonderful thing it would be to spend a bit of time, not much, and you've got all these tools to help, a bit of time giving somebody something, the joy, the gift of that kind of recognition. Because I think, Leigh, you said earlier, it's just being nominated is a special thing, because you know then that someone's recognizing what you're doing internally, and now you have the chance to be recognized for it externally.
Absolutely. And do you know what, I one of the things that I love about these awards is sometimes it's not necessarily your line manager who has seen the KPIs and seen that you've delivered XYZ. It's the peers, and actually someone from a, it could be a contact center manager that says, actually that support manager over there has been really awesome with us this year, and I'm going to nominate them or their team to come and enter the awards. So it's not just it's not just boss nominating a team member, it is peers nominating each other as well. And when I come back to the evening and then post evening, so when you go away, and we do hear people that say, oh, I didn't win, I didn't place, I was really disappointed. And we just keep reiterating, you were in it. Someone in your organization or someone that knows you thinks that you're awesome. And, that's something to be really proud of. Whether you're a finalist, whether you go on to win, hold on to that. And it's the post-event stories that really choke Jackie and I, those that don't win on the night, but they are just really proud to be there. Coming back to your question earlier, what makes you proud? Actually, just being in the room with all those in contact center folk is something to be proud of.
You've shared before, I love this, a phrase I use a lot is you win or you learn, right? So
nice.
You might, and I use it with the girls at football as well. We've learned something. We might not have won, but we've learned something. And you've shared stories of people who have not won or placed, but they've taken the feedback and used that as a key part of what they're going to do differently the following year. So they've learned and they've come back and then they've won. I've got questions. And Alan and Kerry. So Kerry says, do you have categories that are focused on SMEs only? I work with customers who feel they may not be able to compete against the large corporates. And Alan says, Kerry, what Kerry said.
And that's I'm going to go first, and I know that I'll miss stuff, so Jackie will be able to fill in the gaps. The purpose of these awards is to celebrate everyone. So obviously there are some big brands that are in there that do, they are doing great stuff and they are nominating their folk. But the whole criteria and entry process is geared up for everyone. No matter how big, how small, which sector they're in, as long as they're a UK contact centre, it doesn't matter. There's a number of things that we do. So I'm going to use contact centre culture as an example. When the nominations come in, we've got at the moment one category for that. Should we get lots of nominations that are really awesome, then Jackie has a look at with our head judges, because we've got a team of head judges. We look at the categories and look at how we might split them up so we can recognise more folk because they're doing amazing things. And one of the things we look at is size of contact centre. And so you will have seen in the past that we sometimes use small and large. So when you're looking at nominating, don't get put off by the fact that you think it's always going to be the TSBs of this world, the large organizations, the large contact centers, because it's not. Sometimes those large brands only enter a small team. So you are up against smaller organizations. what we do recognise is that some of those big brands have an awful lot of support behind them, whereas a small organisation, and you know, we're involved in the European Awards. One of the big winners in November was Microscooters. They're a tiny little contact centre in the UK, but they're doing amazing things. So we apply that same fairness, regardless of how large your contact centre or how large your brand is. Jackie, what have I missed?
Well, no, I was just going to add to that, you know, you look at last year's winners, which are all online, and you do see some of those small companies on there, you know, MSI Reproductive Services, Step Change Debt Charity, you know, I don't think Simply Health, I don't think Nespresso. I've got huge contacts. There's lots of, yes, BT, Vodafone, Newcastle Strategic Solutions. Did they have 3 winners last year? You know, they're not a huge contact centre. So absolutely, small and large. And the judges are experienced enough to know that they're not always comparing apples with pears. Sorry, apples with apples. They're comparing apples with pears, and that they know how to judge that differently to give the right amount of sort of credit to those people, teams, organisations. And I think the other part of that question was about, do you have specific category for SMEs? Was that right, Martin?
Yes.
Am I?
Yes,
Yeah.
there you
Okay.
go.
So obviously, a lot of the individual categories are what I would call SMEs, as in complaints manager, quality manager, learning and development manager, support team manager, etc. So I suppose being an SME in your own field, yes. There's also a category called significant contributor, and that can be one of 2 things really. So it's for the people where in their day job. So I always think about this because I used to run a quality team in a big organisation, and I know that a number of my team were absolutely critical to that contact centre manager, and that we used to call it a muster. So I guess it's that group of teams within a contact centre. Their quality analyst was massively important. The person that does all the data, the performance analyst, the comms analyst, whoever it is, there's people in an organisation. They're not the manager, but they work within a team, and they make a significant contribution to making the job of the front line easier. So significant contributor is for those people. It's also for those people that might be doing, so it's team manager and above, it's not advisor, but it might be somebody that's been involved in a big project. So it's either side of desk, or it was a secondment into doing slightly different, and they made a significant contribution. So I hope that answers Kerry's question about SMEs, as well as small, big company.
It does. And she has a follow-up, but before she gets to that, I think, do you know, a really good way to answer this is, before I did this, I was lucky enough to be a judge, and a few times, and I can remember your process is great, right? So it allows for, it doesn't really matter how much budget you have behind this, or whether you have an awards team, or whether you're just a single person nominating another person. But what I feel like I'm okay to say this, right? Everyone loves an underdog. I can remember, you know, bearing in mind you see a lot of people in the process, but I can remember someone that came, 2 people, and said, you know, we operate in a tiny team. We have cobbled together systems. We recognize the problems. We don't have a budget for training. We don't have this. We don't have that. But by God, their story was amazing. So it's the story, and the story, you've got that kind of look where we started, and look what we've done, and look how creative we've had to be because we didn't have a great budget. That people like that really stick in my mind. They really, really do, because they have gone against the odds, and they've been recognized through these awards.
And that's exactly what we're looking for. So it's you might have a brilliant team manager who has been in their role for 20 years, and you love them, they're brilliant. but what have they done in the last 12 months? And some of the folk that have been in their role for 20 years are continually evolving, learning, changing, and making change. And it's what have you done in the last 12 months? What was your starting point? Where did you finish? It's, as you say, it's those stories. And I am going to answer Kerry's question, if I may, about the writing. Yeah, this one, about writing the awards entries. Not all big corporates have people dedicated to writing award entries. That is certainly a myth, Kerry, to debug. Some do. Some will deploy the likes of Boost to go and write entries. But one of the things that we're mindful of, and this is why Jackie talked about the guidance on the system, we are trying to help anyone that's looking to enter to write the best nomination that they can. And it is about maybe looking at the guidance on the system and answering those questions, looking at the criteria, some of the feedback that we get, and Tracy talked about it, one of our head judges on the webinar, was making sure that you pull out the metrics. You know, what impact has this person had, or what impact has this team had? And so we're trying to give as much guidance. You don't have to be a brilliant writer. We know that not many marketing functions get involved, but maybe if you've got a comms person or a marketing function, and I appreciate that not all organizations will have that kind of function, but they might be able to help as well, because that's the world that they live in. So and Jackie gives that kind of guidance on the webinar as well around how to write those nominations.
I mean, we say you should be able to write a nomination in 30 minutes. And when I speak to somebody, if somebody rings me or they ask to speak to me or whatever, I say, don't overthink it. Just tell it from the heart. If the story's there, the story's there. You know, and you can spend hours, of course you can, but you know what? It probably won't change so much from the first time you just try and do it. So do it. Put it in, you know, and then critique it. And we say on the webinar, maybe get somebody else to read it. Doesn't matter whether that's somebody at home that knows nothing about you or your organisation. Does it make sense? Have I covered the point? You know, I know over the years, gosh, the number of dissertations and things I've read from my daughter, or CV updates or applications or whatever, where I've read it. I know nothing about what she's doing or talking about, but I can say to her, you've said what you've done, but you've not said what it resulted in. Mum, yeah, good point, you know. So get somebody to read it. And I always say, you know, sort of, yes, there's all this help and there's all this guidance, but then there's this common sense kind of thing that comes in, isn't that sort of says, you know, treat it like you would do any sort of interview. Use the STAR approach. Tell us the situation, you know, tell us the actions that you did, and don't forget to tell us the results, you know, tell us the tasks. So it's, I think it's 30%, isn't it? 30% situation, task and results, and the other 70% is about all the actions. And I think that's a good thing just to keep in your mind when you're writing it. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a big lengthy process. And you know what, Kerry? The judges will see through it.
Yeah,
it's not Leigh. The judges see through it.
They're seasoned pros. It doesn't matter whether the team arrive by helicopter, have dry ice, come in with white tigers, and they have a choreographed dance routine to share their nomination. The judges are great at just being like, what did you do? What did you do? You know, and that. Go on, sorry.
I think keeping it real, and the judges will see through it. They absolutely do, and it is one of the reasons as well why we have the face-to-face, albeit a Teams conversation. It's why we have the face-to-face judging in phase 2, because the first stage of shortlisting is obviously looking at the nominations and shortlisting from there. But then when you've got 8 people in the final, or 6 or 10, the judges get to see, Jackie uses the phrase, sees the whites of their eyes. And that's where you do get to really demonstrate your passion for what you've done, or what your team have done, and where you get to, you know, showcase your whole team.
Here we go. So Pete said, one of the best I judged in the last few years was Sky. Not because their presentation looked phenomenal and had pictures of Idris Elba, but because the people were really passionate about their vulnerable customer support program. That's lovely. That sticks in his mind.
And that didn't need to say Sky. That could well have been a brand that nobody had heard of, and that they are really passionate about what they're doing. And it doesn't have to be a big brand. To be honest with you, we love it when an organisation comes in and we're like, "Oh, what do they do?" It shows that actually we are making a difference beyond the big brands as well.
Exactly. Danny says, so what? When you're writing, ask this after every statement. Does it explain, contextualize, or show the value added? If not, drop it.
Great advice.
Good advice.
Well, so a month. Is it a month to go? People have a month. That's right.
It is. It's a month. I didn't realise it's the 21st of January. Closes on the 21st of February.
So you all work with amazing people. You've got the tools there to be able to craft it. It can take up to only half an hour, and you can then go back and edit right up to the transfer deadline window closing. There really is no excuse for doing something for the people around you that make your organization great. So what's not to love about this? Can I have a guess at what is the question you get asked the most?
Yes, you may.
Who's a celebrity? Is that the top question? And I'm not expecting you to answer that, by the way, but I just want to know, is that the question you get asked the most?
I think we get two questions. Who's the celebrity? And we get, can we extend the deadline?
It's true. The who's the celebrity is normally in the weeks running up to it. It's not front of mind right now. It's normally in the weeks running up to June, 16th of June. But it is quite a popular question, and we never ever reveal it beforehand.
No, you're very good, very, very good. Well, Leigh, Jackie, thank you so much for coming on. I massively would recommend people going into this process. It's like you said earlier. You might not think what you're doing is good, but this is but it probably is, and this is a great way to find out.
Absolutely.
And if anybody wants any more help or advice, I'm here. Hopefully people that knew me before today already knew this. Hopefully they've seen me today and they know that I'm approachable. You can ask me anything. There's no such thing as a daft question. So, just reach out. There's loads of ways that you can reach out to me, even if you don't know the way through the UK Awards or the CCMA, then come through LinkedIn, because I'm really happy to answer any questions and help people. And if it's your first time, I'll hold your hand right through the process. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. Sorry, Leigh, I interrupted you.
That's okay. The only thing I was going to say, and then I shall hand back to you. UKNCCA.com. That's the web address for all of the information, all the stuff to download, access to entries. UKNCCA.com.
What a pro! Thank you both. Thank you both
Thanks,
very
Martin.
much, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks so much, Mark. Good luck with the marathon training.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that great? Really, really enjoyed chatting. I told you it was going to be like a catch-up. We've kind of run on a bit, but I think you'll agree it was worthwhile. If you're still with me, I just very, very quickly, you may know, I'm probably boring people with this. I'm running the Marathon for ActionAid. It's a great charity for women and girls around the world. Gets them out of poverty and away from violence. I've had an idea for fundraising. I'm thinking of, so I've been in touch with LinkedIn. No one's actually ever done this, but I was thinking of a 12-hour telethon where I could get different people in at different times, maybe even have it themed. Do you remember the old sort of totalizers? This would each section, so I'd do like 3-hour sections. I'd have to do it around the dog walk, but I'd have 3-hour sections, and the first one could be DEI, or we could do an hour on quality, an hour on WFM, and I would have guests in. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? And if so, what would you want to see in it? You could, like, in your day, dip in and out of LinkedIn and I would still be there. But I just thought I had that idea, and I thought, you know what, I want to ask you, but we have overrun, so maybe you're not still with me, which I totally understand. I'm going to ask you another time. But what do you think? A 12-hour telethon, never been done before. I would have to. Apparently, you have to set them up in 3 hours. The maximum you can do is 3 hours. So set them up in 3-hour chunks. Go and walk Hugo, come back, and then start another part of the show. Get some giveaways, see if companies want to come in and give us prizes, all to try and get the totalizer to hit the magical £2,000 mark. I'm on 1,227, and that the most recent donation was from the lovely Steve Sullivan last night. So thank you very much. Neve, hello. It's good to see you. I'm here. Let me have a think and come back to you in DMs. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Still here, just thunking, Winnie the Pooh style. I love it. Thank you, Danny. Yes, please do. Answers. Just let me know what you think. Whether you'd like to be involved. We could highlight and showcase people's services, but we could also just have a chat about some of the key things going on in our industry. We could have panels. It's going to take a bit of planning, but it would be good to do something for the first time that no one's done on LinkedIn before, by all accounts. I'm only basing that on one person I spoke to on the help desk when I said, "Can I do this?" Peter says what they said. Oh, Pete, maybe me and you could do it. We could just see if we could talk for 12 hours. We would need some red wine for that, I think. Although, no, I can't. On the wagon until the marathon, one of the things that I'm visualizing in my head is having a beer when I get through the finish line. It's very tough at the weekend when we've played football and everyone's enjoying a nice cold beer. But it's getting easier. I sound like an alcoholic. Nothing wrong. Well, straying into dangerous territory here. But yes, I'm going to extend dry January all the way through to when I finish the marathon. Positive thinking there. When I finish April the 27th, 12 hours, easy. Yeah. I'm not sure we'd have many people there with us, just listening to us witter on. But okay, so thank you very much. Huge thanks to Jackie and Leigh for coming on. I do hope you can join me next Tuesday, and we will have another fun time together. Thanks for all your comments as always and all your support. I do appreciate it. Do get your nominations in. You must work with someone or a team that do great things. This is your opportunity to recognize them and give them something very, very special that they will remember for the rest of their lives. Alan says, I can talk for around 11 hours without coming up for air. So you'll only have to fill 1 hour. Alan, you're in. No problem. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of the week. I always appreciate the time we spend together, and I will see you all soon.